Hey everyone, in this video let's approach cutting pixels in a non-destructive way. When we do it in a non-destructive way, we're using selections to make masks instead of using selections to cut pixels. So we'll go ahead and grab our marquee. I've restored Jacket 4 layer. I'm going to make sure that I'm working on it by selecting it. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of build these columns again like this. Okay. Now in the last video I went ahead and I cut the middle out of these selections. I deactivated, so to speak, the pixels that are inside the marquee of the selection. Here though, what I want to do is I want to ask Photoshop to build a pixel mask on Jacket 4's layer that covers up these two columns. Okay, so I've made the selection, I've activated Jacket 4, and then I'm going to drop down here in the layers panel and I'm going to go to this little button that is add layer mask, and I'm going to hit it. Photoshop will automatically translate the selections into a mask. However, it felt that by selecting the pixels here and then making a mask, you wanted to keep them active. The good news is that we can just invert this very easily and get the effect that we actually wanted. This mask is an actual pixel layer inside the channel. It's right here. It's like a single channel black and white layer that Photoshop uses to say turn these pixels on, which are white, or turn them off, black, or to give them some level of feathering, which would be any gray in between pure white and pure black. Okay, now because it is a pixel layer, it means that it can be drawn on, it means that it can be inverted, it means that it can be manipulated in many ways. But you have this problem because the layer now has two different pixel information images, and you have to make sure that you're selecting and acting on the one that you actually want to transform. So in this case, because I want to invert this, I'm going to make sure that this little white marquee is active on the mask. And then I'm going to go up to either image image adjustments and invert, or I'm just going to hit Command I and invert it. So you can see what was white is now black and what was black is now white in this mask. And the effect that I wanted has occurred. Okay. Make sure that you have selected that, because if you don't, then the invert will hit here, and I'll show you, and you'll get an inversion in the actual pixels of the image. Okay, boom. This little white marquee is really important. The other thing that I should point out, and we mentioned this in the second class, but I did not mention it to the first class. It's not something I want you to worry about too much, but automatically when you make a mask on a layer, there is a link between the mask and the image. And what this does is it allows you to make scaling choices with the mask in place without losing that relationship here. So if I were to transform this, Command T, and I shrank it, you can see that the mask grows or shrinks in relationship to what the layer is doing in terms of the image. Okay. If you break that, let me escape from that. If you break that little link here by clicking on it, and then you transform, it's going to transform the thing that's selected. So in this case, I'm actually transforming the mask, not the image. If I escape from that and select the image, and then hit Command T for transform, I'm going to transform the image and not the mask that's sitting there. Escape. If I want to relink them, I go to the blank space between them and I click, and it reestablishes the link. Okay. By constructing complex selections, you can make complex masks. That's not the end of the story. We're going to talk about how to modify masks and to transform masks and to paint on masks and to add and subtract from masks. But for right now, let's leave it in the realm of creating complex selections and then turning those selections into masks. Okay, a few things. If I hold the shift key down and I come over to the mask icon and I click on it, it will deactivate the mask. It won't erase it, it'll just put a big red X in it and it will deactivate it. Great. If I want to turn it back on, I push the shift key down again and I click on it. Okay? If I want to get rid of a mask, then I just grab it, make sure it's activated, I grab it and I bring it down to the trash. If the mask is associated to a pixel layer, as it is in this case, it's going to ask me, do I want to apply the mask to the layer before removing it? It's really asking, do you want me to cut the pixels before I dump the mask? And you have to make a decision. Yes, I want the pixels to be cut permanently, or no, I don't. I just want to get rid of the mask. Right now, I just want to get rid of the mask. So I'm going to hit delete, and the mask is gone. You can see it's gone right there. Voila. Now, you can also mask adjustment layers. As you can see down here, these adjustment layers already have masks on them. They're completely white, meaning that the adjustment layer is applied to the whole of the image. I can come over, grab a selection tool, make a marquee, and then go and make a new adjustment layer. Let's see, boom. Let's do, well, I really love invert these days. And what will happen is that invert adjustment layer will automatically pop up with a mask in place. So where it is black, the instructions are not carried off or turned off. The pixels that would be converted by the adjustment layer are turned off. And the pixels that would be affected, the effect of the adjustment layer on those pixels is turned off. Obviously, the pixels are still there. And then in the white area, the effect on the pixels remains. And that's really great because now that you have this, you can make a very particular action of an adjustment layer within an image. Okay? All the same things apply. You can link it down, etc., etc., or you cannot. But this mask, whatever is underneath it, in this case, is going to be affected. If I clip it here, then only the image that intercedes with it in this layer is going to be affected. If you have a curve or an invert or any kind of adjustment layer that you've already made that has the mask up here like this, you can activate it and you can do things like invert it. But if you want to really change it, at this point, the best thing to do would be to just take it, grab it, dump the mask in the trash. It's going to ask you, do you want to delete that mask? You can say yes. It doesn't clip anything because there's no pixels to clip. We'll delete that, and now you have this curve without a mask. You can then make a selection. Let me grab the marquee, draw out a selection. Let's do that, something that we'll see. And then come to the adjustment layer, hit this, and you can see right here that new mask has been made. And when this is active, like that, turn this off, right, you can see that the adjustment layers occur in a very particular manner. So masks can be created from selections and added to adjustment layers and to pixel layers. They can be removed, they can be turned off, and they can be applied. How you use them is up to you, but please explore the ways that you can transform your selections into masks for non-permanent actions with your layers.